Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And we're back with, once again, some more Ninth Doctor. Boomtown is today's pick. So, what is Boomtown about? Well, essentially, the Doctor, Captain Jack, and Rose decide to go to Cardiff. Lovely place, been there. But essentially, they go to Cardiff and they bump into Mickey Smith, who has come down to bring Rose her passport. Now, Mickey is absolutely baffled why she needs her passport because she's in the TARDIS and they always seem to be landing all over the place. They don't really seem to go through border checks. Rose then jokes later that she didn't really need her passport, and this annoys Mickey, but that's a whole separate point. Essentially, the group decide to go out for lunch in Cardiff and have a bit of a laugh down at one of the cafes. However, halfway through reading a newspaper, the Doctor soon realises Margaret Slevine has survived and is currently occupied in Cardiff as the new Cardiff mayor. She has enlisted a giant project to build a power station in the centre of Cardiff Bay. A power station that, if it was built, it would not only affect the locals, but if it went nuclear, it would kill everyone in the surrounding area for miles. So the Doctor, Mickey, Rose, and Jack decide to investigate and decide to go looking for Margaret. They chase her down and then begin to interrogate her on exactly what's going on here and what her intentions with Cardiff and the power station is. She tries to plead to them that it is absolutely a fundamental impossibility that the power station would ever go up, and she also tries to reassure the Doctor and his friends that she has changed. The Doctor doesn't believe a word of it and becomes really frustrated when she keeps trying to use her teleport. When she goes to give them the model of the giant power station that she was going to build in Cardiff, the Doctor and Jack soon realise that there's a giant rift manipulator beneath the surface. The Doctor then begins to discuss with Margaret the fact that just because she let one victim go does not mean she is a better person. She still has the cruel intent of a Slevine and will do everything in her power to get revenge for her dead brothers. The Doctor and his friends then begin to fiddle about with the rift manipulator while Mickey and Rose go off to have a date. However, their date goes south when Mickey and Rose begin to argue about their past endeavours. For starters, the fact that Rose always seems to leave Mickey behind. Also, the fact that Mickey would run across the world just to see Rose no matter what. Mickey then has a giant argument about the fact that he has tried to move on with his life with a girl in the shop named Trisha Delane. Rose doesn't believe this for a second, and of course this frustrates Mickey down to the bone. He then decides to ditch Rose and run off to the train station to go back to the power estate. Meanwhile, the Earth begins to go into absolute meltdown as bits and pieces of Cardiff begin to crack. The rift begins to open up, and the TARDIS begins to go haywire. Margaret then tries to grab the rift manipulator and take Rose hostage. She points out that she always intended for the rift manipulator to go wrong, and she always intended to use the surfboard to essentially surf out of the control room and right across the void whilst the Earth crumbles to dust. The Doctor, however, manages to get his revenge on her by essentially opening up the heart of the TARDIS and turning her back into an egg. Margaret, as an egg, is then taken back to Raxacorical Phalabatorius by the Doctor, Rose and Jack. So, Boomtown. What did I think of this episode? I really like this episode. One, because it's nice to see Margaret the Slevine back. I also like that we get the Doctor kind of being out on a date, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I also feel like it's nice to see Jack not necessarily in his environment. He feels a bit like the odd one out here, even though he does try to play it off as all cool. I also like that Mickey makes a really good observation that has been used ever since in Doctor Who, which is, why is the TARDIS not noticed? Especially when the fact that there are no police boxes anymore, so shouldn't people pick up on the fact that a big tall police box is standing in the middle of a town centre? To which Christopher Eccleston's Doctor's advice is basically saying that the human race are thick, and due to his cloaking device, they will just walk past it like it doesn't exist. Everyone laughs about this in this story, and I just think it's absolutely brilliant. So, what would I give this story out of 10? However, even though I say that this is a really good story and I like the power station and all that, there is only one thing that I feel like makes this story stray. It's nice to see Mickey and Rose have a bit of a disagreement about the fact that Rose did technically still run off with the Doctor and leave Mickey behind. However, I do feel like the way that that comes across and the way that that strains most of the episode really like drags it a little bit, and for that reason I'm going to give this at least an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, you beautiful people.